Hi everyone, you have reached Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. For all you out there, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time I go live or upload a video, you will be notified. Tonight we're gonna have a candid conversation about what you should do or how life should go after a breakup. After you break up from a mate, after you go through a divorce, like what's next. So we're going to chat about that. I'm bringing in Chef Kev. Hold on one second. Hey, hey.
Hey, what's going on?
And we're hoping that later on, if possible, our girl Francis can join in on the conversation. So we wanted to come and just have a little candid conversation about, life after a breakup, life after divorce, life after, you've been with somebody. Maybe you thought they was the one, or maybe you didn't, but, y'all were very close and it was heading towards a certain direction. What do you do after this breakup? Like, how do you move on? There are some people that unfortunately, they don't move on. They stay stuck, and then every person they get with afterwards kind of is living in the residue of them not really truly moving on. So I have my questions here, Kevin, and so we'll start with this thing first. There's a lot of people said, I didn't get my closure. I need closure. What do you think about that concept, and do you think that closure is needed?
Closure is needed, but you may not get the closure the way you want it, and that's something you have to accept. Um, Everything starts with yourself. It's about self healing. It's about forgiveness. We've talked about that. We have people who watch us and stuff, and thank you. But in all religions that I know about, forgiveness is a part of it. We want God to forgive us, Allah, whoever you want to forgive us, but we don't want to forgive other people. And forgiveness is for yourself. It starts the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people walk around with this anger and grudge. And I remember reading a comment a long time ago, and they said, stop walking around angry and with grudges because the people you're mad or have a grudge against, half of them don't know, and the other half don't care.
Yep.
So it's just real. So I mean, we've all been there. Somebody was mad at you, and you didn't even know they was mad at you. What you mad at me for? You're like, and you didn't lose sleep behind it, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to heal, and like I said, the closure you get, and I always say, uh, my homegirl Taz said in my situation when I was trying, she said, why wait for? Why ask the question? Because they're not going to give you an answer that you want to hear or an answer that satisfies their decision, that satisfies you in their decision. There's nothing they're going to say to make you say okay. You know what I mean? In most cases, you're going to be like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get closure, like I said, closure is not going to come the way you think it's going to come. It's just you have to get to that point. Some do it with therapy, some do it in any prayer, however you get to that, but you got to get to that closure. Because if you don't get to that closure, then you carry that baggage into another situation.
Right. So, as you stated, closure comes in all different forms, and you have to get the closure the way that's going to best satisfy your needs. And a lot of times speaking to the person, because that's the traditional way, I guess, for lack of a better word, we think we're going to get closure, is actually getting to speak to the person and maybe ask them some questions like why, what happened, where did it go wrong, or whatever, right? But as you stated, and you may end up in a worse position because maybe the answer to their questions is not going to be something that one you're prepared for or want to hear. So, going to this person to get closure, like you said, it may not really happen. So closure can happen is, you write yourself a letter, like you write it out yourself, or you write that person a letter but you don't necessarily have to send it to them. That could be your closure because you kind of released it out. So you got to find non-traditional ways, I guess I'll say, for, to find closure, because getting it from the other person may never happen. And matter of fact, sometimes speaking to them may make you want to punch them in the face.
which is true. But
So
they may be
that,
accessible either. They may not be accessible.
that is true.
They could have passed away. There's a lot of different scenarios there. You
Right.
know,
That is true. That is true. So they may not be accessible to get the closure. So that is true. So okay. So y'all triggered something in me, and it's gonna segue me into my next question. Y'all triggered something in me when y'all kept saying, when we watched the show, the series on Netflix, Sex Life, y'all kept saying that her husband was the rebound. So what do you feel is an acceptable time frame when someone breaks up with someone to get with someone else?
I don't think there's no time frame. I mean, some people take 5 years, some people take 5 weeks. I mean, it depends on how you handle the situation. I
So
don't
why
think
did you say that from the series that he was the rebound?
because she's still caught up into a dude. She hadn't. She, if you look, she hasn't had no closure with Brad. There
Was
was no
but
closure.
we just stated that sometimes you're not going to get closure, right?
Okay, but no, no. It may not be the way you want it, and so it may not be the way you want it. So what I'm saying to you is, if I need closure from you, but you're not accessible, I have to figure that out, whether through therapy or whatever. But for me to walk into the next relationship, and I have this relationship that's masking my feelings for you because you're not around. And then one day we out and about celebrating on a cruise, and here you come walking by, looking chocolate and fine. Now my whole feelings come back and everything started shaking, and I start getting memories. Why? Because I never had closure. And that's what the
Well,
problem
was it
is.
closure or are you still in love? Because that's two different things.
Well, here's the deal.
You
I
cannot
think
have closure with somebody but not be in love with them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
no, you
Unless
can.
the
You
Tia
can.
said it depends on the person. I do believe that too. You cannot have closure and you're not in love with them, but you still want closure because you want answers to some questions that you
But
have.
it's not about the answers. It's okay. It's not about why did you do this to me or why did you do that to me, in my opinion.
For you,
My
right?
thing my thing is getting past that. You know what I mean? One thing we do in a relationship, especially when it's over, we do this. We point, point, point. It was their fault, their fault, their fault. I did this, I did that, I did this. You did what you were supposed to do in a relationship. Okay? As a man, okay, I bought you gas. I paid bills. I did what I pulled out chairs. I opened doors for you. Maybe you didn't appreciate it, but as a man, that's my job in a relationship. That's what I did. I have no regrets about it. So I can't sit here and hold on to the $600 I gave you or the $1,000 I gave you for a down payment on a car or whatever and be like, I did this, I did that. You did what you supposed. You did what you did in that relationship. You can't hold on to that. You know what I mean? You can't hold on to, oh, when he was in school and I would be up all night with the baby so he could study. You can't hold on to that. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that he's going to give you the apology that you want or answer the question the way you want to answer. He or she could be a straight jackass about the situation. You have to accept your role. For me, it was accepting my role. It was like, you know what? I could sit here and grandstand about I did this and I did that, and she, you could do that all day.
So you accepting your role gave you your closure.
Yes, me accepting the role and accepting the situation the way like I didn't like it, but it was what it was. So we're going out Saturday. It's supposed to be sunny. The weatherman said 85 degrees. We wake up, it's raining. Okay, it's raining. We have to accept that. and let's
Yeah,
figure
hold on,
out what
hold
to
on,
do
hold on,
next.
hold on, hold on. I gotta jump in here. I gotta jump in here. So you're going off the beaten path, and I want to bring you back. You were in a relationship, and let's just say it was a marriage, right? And things went astray and went awry, and y'all get divorced, y'all break up, it's over. You're confused because maybe the person was telling you, we're going to work this out, we're going to stay together, whatever. But regardless, that you broke up and it's over. So now you're sitting home and you're debriefing over your life and over the relationship. You're saying you're good with never getting any answers or asking this person any questions. You just sat home and you debriefed on your own and you was like, okay, I did this, they did that, I'm good.
It
That's what
wasn't
you're
that I
saying?
did. It wasn't that. See, here's the thing. It wasn't that I didn't ask any questions. You may not get the answer that you want
Well, we know that.
or you're looking for, or even that, or even the truth.
True.
So while you're still worried about, well, why did we and why did we and why did we accept what happened, deal with that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
learn from it, and move on. But if you still trying to figure out why he left, why she left, so why did he do me like that? Why did she do me like that?
But maybe the answer to you correcting some behaviors is in debriefing why that happened. So you cannot grow and move on and maybe change some behaviors. So you said a key thing, right? We're always pointing at the other person. So if you're going to reflect and look at yourself, you got to see what role did I play in this situation and in the relationship. And maybe he or she did that because I did this. Now, do I need to change or was it okay? So you do have to do some questioning and saying, okay, what happened in this relationship? Was I not cleaning the house? Was I not doing my part? You got to look at all of that. And
That
yes, I do agree that, you may not get the answer that you want from a person, of course, because they could lie. They could just not answer you. They cannot respond. They cannot, engage in your conversation. They could just be like, listen, I'm done. And it's over. And, you go your way, I go mine. So, yes, at that point, you have to say, you know what? I have to find closure another way because they won't even engage in a conversation with me.
what
So, go ahead.
what I said before is part of healing is looking at yourself. If I didn't say it, I apologize. But part of healing is looking at yourself
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
your faults too. No one is perfect. You have to say to yourself, okay, where did I go wrong?
Right.
You know what
If
I
you
mean?
went wrong. No,
And
just joke.
then, but here's the key.
Yes.
And here's the key that I had to accept sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us have some type of religious background. And sometimes you got to look back and say, did God give you an exit that you didn't see or that you ignored? That's something you have to deal with. That's part of closure. Did God give you an exit before you got married, before that baby? Did God give you an exit and you ignored it? That's something I really had to deal with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was part of it was something that, you know it is what it is, and I navigated through it. But sometimes it was a mem. I read it one time, and they said it was a woman talking to God, right? And the man left her, and then she got him back, but he still was running the streets. And she says, God, he still won't act right. And God said, I took him out your life the first time. Why you let him back in?
Mm.
And so
So
sometimes,
ignoring the signs.
yeah, ignoring the signs. So sometimes everybody thinks that you got to control the narrative. Like, okay, I got to be the one to leave. Like Steve Harvey says, sometimes the breakup is the blessing. Sometimes we don't see. Sometimes everybody would count money. I gave him $6,000. I gave him $4,000. Whatever. A lot of times that's nothing to get somebody out your life. So it's like some people look at you and say 4,000 to get them out your life. You got off cheap. So it. it's how you look at it. Everyone's situation is different. I just feel like this. All this comes together in closure in the sense of you looking at yourself. Yourself, you become first. Healing yourself is you. So in a healing process is part of closure is not just, you have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself and be 100% honest with yourself and be honest with the fact that, okay, you know what? Maybe I should have came home. Maybe I left too many things out. Maybe I wasn't clean enough. Maybe I didn't do this enough. Maybe I didn't pay more attention to it or whatever. But, and also another thing is, and this is the problem I had, which beat me up. I was looking at everybody else's relationship
Mm.
and trying to
You was
figure out,
comparing. You was
well, I was trying to
comparing.
figure out why didn't it work because one of the frustrating parts is seeing people go through so much in a relationship and still together, and it felt like we broke up over cornflakes on the floor. Like that's what it felt like. And you got people cheating and fathering babies and doing things and still together, and you looking around like, okay, there was some cornflakes on the floor, and you got mad, now you out the door. In comparison to that, and so that's what it felt like. So, but despite of what reason the breakup happened, you still have to heal from that. So when you talk about the rebound, if I'm using you to mask my feelings or my pain from the last breakup. I never dealt with closure, right? But then there's one thing meantime, between time, there's another thing that all of a sudden now we're in a relationship. Okay, now the relationship gets some legs to it, it starts going because this person's in love with you. But you never healed from the last relationship. So you're just riding the wave. And you hit that wall. I think every relationship, every job, whatever, you hit that wall. And when you hit that wall, you got to break through. And so when you hit that wall, you'll sit there and um, whatever, whatever. So the
Thank you,
thing is,
Latia. Neither did I. Neither did I.
but you hit that wall, and sometimes you sit there and you haven't healed. Like it's like I break my leg, right? But I didn't go through therapy. I didn't do what the doctor told me to do. If somebody breaks their leg in three places, and 6 months later they jog and I'm still walking with a limp because I didn't heal properly. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times people are limping through life or limping through relationships just holding on because they never heal properly. And you hear about people in therapy sessions and things like that. And people. That's one of the reasons why people sometimes are unfaithful. They figure like this: I'll never be in a situation again. You know what I mean? I'll never be in a situation again. I'm always go for mine. And people have that mindset. And there are a lot of people out there that's broken. And I've dealt with them. I've conversed with them, and you could tell they're broken. You know what I mean? And so they're broken. They're not healed. They're not properly healed. But then somebody else's face or somebody's in their face, and now you have a different situation, and that's what you end up with.
Okay. So your thought process is that there is no time frame. It depends on the person. And here's the thing though, Kevin. Sometimes you don't know that you're not healed. People sometimes there's some people that don't know that they're not healed until they do know. So for you to say that as long as you're healed, you can move on into another relationship, what does that really mean? And so if and then sometimes you think you are over a person until something triggers and you're like, wow, I didn't realize that, I still care that much, or maybe that I still love that particular person. So to say, so what do you define as a true rebound?
A rebound to me is somebody is like, and this is something I discovered in my last situation. We have this lust, and you have it called a craving or a lust, but you can lust for affection,
Hmm.
and sometimes you don't mean to. it's a situation where it's almost like you 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 take what's available. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And sometimes it's like being hungry. Actually, I had this conversation with one of my trainers there in the gym, and I was like, "Yo, when I do cardio, I could when I do lift weights, I could think about the broccoli and the green and the brown rice and the steak over chicken when I get home. But when I'm doing cardio, I could smell McDonald's. When I'm on the bike, I can smell Dunkin' Donuts, and even though it's 6 blocks around the corner, I can smell it. And he said, because your body's craving calories. It don't care if it's bad calories. Your body's craving calories. Now, this is where your mental focus comes in because you would end up consuming bad calories. You know what I mean? And so it could be sugar or whatever, or you eat something that's bad, and that's how your diet goes left. When you're in those emotional states, you're craving that situation. Loneliness. Luther said it best. Loneliness is a sad affair. You know what I mean? And so when you're lonely and you're in that lonely stage and you're sitting there and you're alone and that bed seems so cold. It doesn't have to be wintertime. Sometimes that bed could seem so cold and you just want a body. And sometimes you mess around and you grab it and it could be, anybody. And so it's like, this person likes you or you got this person right here and it don't mean nothing to you, but you know what I mean? You just need that for right now. You just need that. You know what I mean? And so that's what happens. That to me, that's a rebound, or just something just to. It doesn't always have to be physical. It could be a date. You're not ready to really heal, but you just with the company. You know what I mean? You're tired
Mm.
of just going out with your girls or hanging out with the fellas. You want to go on an actual date. Want to go get just go to a movie and sit down and eat dinner or watch a show or a concert, and you just want that company, that adult company. So this is what happens. So a rebound, is something to me. A rebound is just basically what it is. It's like a bandit on a bullet wound. It's not healing, but
Latia
it's
is
just temporary.
right, and not to interrupt Kevin. Latia is right. Some people just like the idea of being in a relationship, and as soon as one end, they are jumping into another one. Yes, there are some people that have that issue.
hmm Yeah, you have people who I remember reading one time. A woman said, and it was small, but she said having a man's razor in my medicine cabinet makes me feel feminine. You know,
Mm.
a man said me paying for my woman makes me feel more manly. So sometimes these things are stuff we use to make us feel good, you know, and we do it, but and what happens is was the bad side of it is you're not really ready for that relationship. So you
Mm-hmm.
got a man raise it in your medicine cabinet and he's falling in love with you, but you still haven't healed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You paying for this woman and it makes you feel manly to take her out and open the door and stuff like that, but you still haven't healed. So is it fair to that person because they're not getting 100% of you?
Right.
They're
But
getting a
sometimes
representative.
they don't know it until it's too late.
Yeah, they're
They're
getting a
ready. They're
representative.
ready what I call locked and loaded. They're ready in love with you, and
hmm
now they're finding out that your heart is still somewhere else.
hmm
Someone else still got a hold on you, and you got a hold on that person too. Yeah.
Not necessarily, but yeah,
Well, maybe,
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 maybe.
yeah. So let's talk about this, relationships, whether, especially now with camera phones and all of that, relationships, whether the relationship was a year, a few months, or years, how long do you hold on to all of the memories y'all had together? Do you keep them forever? Like these pictures, these text messages. How long do you hold on to them? And I mean, as long as you stay single, I don't think it's a problem. But the minute you get into a relationship, What do you do about all of that? Sometimes you don't know it yourself, and that is so true. That
Mhm.
is so true.
Um, I- Depends on what the picture is. Like, I can't get mad if you're holding on to a picture of you in your wedding dress because you look pretty. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get mad at something like that. If it's a picture of you in your wedding dress and you look sexy and you look, okay, fine. If it's something with y'all and the kids, I can understand. Something like holding on to a picture of him or her, just it doesn't make sense to me. Um, Delete it, get rid of it, especially if it's been years you moved on, because and people seem is pictures is almost like cheating. People seem to go always get away with it. And something always happen. They slip up with pictures. You think you're going to hide it, and it's always something. You left a computer open.
Wait,
You
wait,
put
hold
it
on, hold on, hold on 1 second. You said pictures are like cheating?
pictures are like okay. Like listen to me. Somebody's cheating, right? And they think they're getting away with it, but at some point they slip up, and it comes
No,
out.
you moved into a whole nother
Listen to
category.
me. Can I finish?
Mm-hmm.
Pictures are the same way. You got pictures of some of your ex, and people think they're hidden, and they pop up. I don't care if it's 5 years later. You're moving. It's in the your archives or somewhere you looking. I've seen it happen. I've seen marriages that was 20 years, and all of a sudden pictures popped up. Okay, somebody said, "Oh, that picture." You gotta realize we were before camera phones, and somebody told me a picture that popped up from like 91 popped up. Well, how did he find that? Oh, I had it hidden somewhere. We was moving, and you know what I mean. So what I feel is that situations like that just kill a picture. You don't have to answer questions later. Just delete the picture. Don't try to be slick. Don't try to be, to me, it's just delete the picture. Because to me, if you got a hidden folder and it's found now, and the first thing comes, what else you hide? You know, and so
Well,
especially if
I'm
it's
not even talking about anything being hidden. I'm just talking about naturally, like you maybe it's in your roll, your camera roll.
mhm.
I know people that have tons of pictures in their camera roll. Are you expected to go through all of those pictures and delete every one that you have of your previous relationship?
What you mean camera roll? I don't know what you mean camera
Like
roll.
your gallery.
Oh, okay, okay.
I know people that have tons of pictures in their gallery and save like from everything. So you're expected to get rid of all of these pictures.
Well, this is okay. This is how I look at it because each marriage, each relationship is different. What are you willing to do? And you should expect the same. So if I want to hold on to pictures of my ex, I can't get mad at you holding on to pictures of yours. If I'm deleting mine, then I should expect you to delete yours. And
There you go,
so
Lucia. She said, I do not get rid of pictures. It's not like they are on my wall. All of us have a past.
mhm. But
Go ahead.
sometimes people are bothered by that past. So it depends on to me it depends on who you're dating and how they feel about it. You know what I mean? Some people attitude is, you know what, I got pictures of like so if I'm divorced and you divorced, if I got pictures of my wedding, I can't get mad you still got pictures of your wedding. You know what I mean? So that's why I say you treated the situation compared to you. Now if you're talking about hiding pictures, that's different. But if you talk about just out in the open, you know, people might feel some kind of way. You know what I mean? I had somebody get mad at me for a picture, an old picture I had on my Facebook. So
All right, so let's talk about this topic. Y'all were living together. The relationship is now over. You're moving out. You're moving. Who gets what?
you take what's yours, you take what's his. That's simple to me. If
Okay.
it's so if
But the
I
living room set, the living room, the dining room, the bedroom was all common, like shared
Hmm.
property, so to speak.
Who paid for it?
Oh, that's where you're going with?
Who paid for it?
That's what you're doing?
I'm asking you a question. Is that's how you can? It's different ways of saying it. You could say, okay, look, you can have it. Some people, most
Right.
people, you can have it. It's yours. But what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is, yeah, we shared it, but you could say, well, I paid for it or whatever. My whole thing is this: is that I sleep on the air mattress. You can keep the bed. I'll buy me another one. You know. So I got a whole place now on me. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going because all it's going to do. My thought process is let's just get let's just get past this so we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not giving you no reason, especially as adults. Unless we got kids together, you have no reason to contact me, right? You said we done, right? So you have no reason to contact me. So if you call me over a bed, you can keep it. You have no reason to contact me. You know, we were lovers, we were friends. We ain't that no more. You can peace, depending on how the breakup goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it was done in an adult way, in a mature way, where we could sit down and say, okay, you know what, this ain't working out for me. Let's figure this out. I want to leave you in a good place. I leave myself in a good place. Maybe we can chop it up later. But if it's on some old grimy stuff, you take all you got and you can bounce. You know what I mean? And so people being grimy and people, there's people taking stuff out the house and waiting till you go to work. Stuff like, all right, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
So you're good. You would just go ahead and just leave whatever behind and go start over and do what you got to do.
Yeah, unless it's something that's if it's mine, it's mine. Don't take what's mine, especially if you don't have nothing to do with it.
Like, for instance, what?
Like my bike, that's my bike. If you don't ride the bike, why would you take it?
Got it. Okay.
But some people
That-
would do it just to do it. Like I'm taking this bike just to, you know what I mean?
to be spiteful because they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is when everything when things are good, things are good, and when things go bad, right? And
Mm-hmm.
pain makes people do some crazy things. And so I think a lot of relationships, when they break up, is more about the pain that they're going through, and it's surfacing through these other things, right? So they're arguing over this, or they're taking that, or they're taking something that they know would make the other person mad and upset. Um, because they don't know how to deal with their own pain and process their pain. So, oh yeah, it depends on the people. Yeah, it does. It depends on the people involved, how things will get split up. And the maturity level definitely has a lot to do with it. Because people be petty when they are hurt. Yes, girl, you said it. That's the key right there. People get petty when they are hurt. And I'm talking low down, dirty, petty. That is so true. You gave me the words. Thank you so much for that. Yes, they get petty. And then the pettiness sometimes, Michelle Obama, I loved it when she said, when they go low, you go high. Sometimes, unfortunately, not because you want to, you end up getting low down in the gutter with them because you get a little bit pissed too. So, it really, you really have to kind of sit back and think. I think breakups, and I'm not saying all the time because sometimes it doesn't matter the age range, everybody gets down and dirty with it. But I think the more breakups you go through, unfortunately, if that happened in your life, um, the better you learn how to cope and handle them. And I think also that sometimes too, the more you know and learn how to navigate pain, I won't say it's easier because heartbreak is a beast, but you do know how to at least try to get through it in a more harmonious way. And sometimes when it comes time to like date another person or going out with another person, it's a lot of what you're saying. It's some of like you know what? Because I don't want to sit in my house and continue to think about, what just happened. You go out with someone. But I think the fair part about going out with that person is let them know, like, look, I just came out of a breakup. I'm not really ready to date yet. I will go out with you and have fun tonight, but don't expect more from me. So if you're upfront with a person and they agree to still go out with you and hang out with you, then it is what it is. But sometimes you do need to step outside of your home and be with other people so that you're not waddling in your pain. And you're getting out there and you're just trying to live life again. But
But
some
some people
people, what
don't
they
matter though.
do, right? Say that again.
Some people don't matter. You could tell them I'm not ready. They're still gonna try to make something out of nothing. They get their
True.
shot. They're like, what? We understand.
That's
I
true.
told
But
you
but
from the
but at that
door.
point though, Kevin, it's on that person. If
Yeah.
you are truthful and honest with somebody when you meet them and they take it somewhere else, that's not on you. It's like, look, I told you the truth. I told you where I was at. I told you everything, and you wanted to continue on down this path. Whatever happens, you're a grown person, and it's going to be on you now at this point. I can't be responsible for your feelings when I got to be responsible for mine. Like, I'm trying to heal myself right now, so I can't be responsible for me and you. You got to be responsible for you. I have to be responsible for me. I gave you my honest truth. You got to deal with that. And if you still want to hang with me knowing my truth, then that's on you.
Well, that's people who trying to be what I call trying to be the savior. You know what I mean? Trying to be the
Hmm.
healer. It's you know I don't care how much I may adore you or may be into you. If I don't feel you're healed, I'm not gonna walk into that situation. Because what you're gonna do is, I don't care how good you are or how well you treat them, you're gonna take shots from what the last relationship or the last person did. And so, I've been on both sides of the fence. I've taken the shots. I've given the shots. But you have to really, like I said, look at yourself or look at the situation. Be honest with yourself. Be like, okay, you know what? She hasn't healed yet. I'm not gonna go that route. But people, she fine, yo, she fine. I'm gonna go for mine. You know what I mean? Yo, you know what I mean? And then they sitting there looking stupid, especially a situation where they get back with the ex. Now you
That
look
has
like Boo Boo.
happened.
Now you look like Boo Boo the fool. She told you what it was. You did everything better than him, and you had more money than him, and you provided all this better than him. But that I don't care if the sex is better than his. It don't matter. If that's where her heart is, that's where she gonna go.
That's where she's gonna turn back to. So
hmm
speaking of that, going back to an ex, have you ever went back to an ex?
In a relationship,
Yeah, just any relationship.
so we're
And
talking
was
about
it better?
it's
And
like
was it
back
better?
together.
And
We
was
go
it?
together. No,
Yeah, was it better
sex,
the
yes.
second time around?
Okay, What I'm saying is, in a relationship, I never went back to the relationship,
Okay,
but I went back to the sex.
and you was able to separate the feelings.
No,
Okay, okay.
in some instances, yes, but no,
So what made you turn back then?
because what made me turn, I didn't turn back. She turned back. I
So
still
they,
wanted her.
oh, okay. No, I understand. So you still wanted her, but she really didn't still want you. She just wanted the sexual part of the relationship. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
And you gave into it,
yeah.
knowing that you still have feelings.
But that was the whole point. In your mind, you thinking you when you're in a situation and you're in love
Mm-hmm.
and you're still in love with this person, you're looking for any reason.
Mm.
So when they say like you had like if you sitting there and you say, "Oh, I seen a roach on the counter," and I live 2 towns over, and I drive to your house to kill a roach. Really? It ain't about the roach. You know what I mean? I just look for a reason to come over there. You know, so now my ears are open. Anything you need, I'm stopping traffic. I'm stopping. What? Oh, I gotta go. I'm with the fellas hanging out. You call and say, "Oh, my car ain't work. I need to ride to the store." Okay, I'm 3 towns over at my boy crib and the supermarket down the street and make a left. So I'm driving 3 towns to take you 3 blocks and make a left. I'm looking for any reason to come over there. So, because you're trying to get back in there. That happens a lot, especially with men. They look for any reason to get over there. So they open the door, you jump on it, you know. But to them, it's just sex. To you, it's emotion. So I've been on both sides of the fence.
Okay, have you ever dated someone who said that they were separated, breaking up with their partner, but they were still living together?
I was on a date about that, but that was it. I was on a date, first date,
Okay.
but to me, in my mind, she was married. So I don't care what anybody said. The whole thing was just left, and I ended the date and bounced.
Oh, so she told you on the date. You didn't
She
know
told me
before.
she was the. I met. She told me she was divorced,
Okay.
and then we started kicking it, and she was like, and I said something, and she said, "Well, we live in the same house." She didn't say anything about, well, he's moving out or I'm moving out eventually. She just said we live in the same house. So I asked the question. I see I sleep in the same bed, and she caught an attitude. And she said, "See, you don't know nothing because you ain't never been married." I'm like this. So I'm like, does he know you're here with me? Why does he gotta know my business? I was just like, something just didn't feel right. And I was just like, yo, felt like she was creeping, and I wasn't gonna be the creeper. So I said, you know what? About
Yeah, but I wonder. So then, how did y'all have y'all had a whole lot of conversation before you went out?
we had conversations. I mean, especially back then, I was working so many crazy hours, but I didn't think about it. Especially with technology, conversations, text messages. You at work, text here, text there. So we had conversations. So it was just like,
Okay.
okay, let's go out. But then when we go out, you're trying to get to know somebody, and you're asking questions, and it's like, oh, okay, now we good. I just left it at that.
All right. So my next topic that I have on hand here, because y'all kind of brought this up when we was having all of our previous conversations, at what point do you tell the person that you're dating, the person that you like, some significant information about your life? I think we can be in agreement that there's no way possible, and neither should you have to tell someone everything. But at what point do you tell this person whatever you think they need to know? Like, of course, who's going to come out day number one and say that? This is what I do think. I will say this is what I do think should come out off the bat if you have kids, right? So that's something that shouldn't be held off. You don't need to wait. You need to say this up front. I have kids, how many kids you have, so forth and so on. So that's one of those things where I would say you shouldn't have to wait. There are things I think when it comes to dating that unfortunately, women have to ask this question, and I don't think they should have to. They have to ask these men these days, like, are you married? Is there someone out there that calls you their husband? Okay. Do you have kids? Is there someone out there that thinks they're your girlfriend, or significant other? It's so unfortunate that you have to ask these questions because people want to play games and not divulge this important information up front. They tell it later on. Some of them don't tell it until you're locked and loaded, meaning that you're in love with them. Then they want to go, oh, well, oops, I meant to tell you, blah, blah, blah. I meant to tell you I'm separated, but I'm not divorced yet. What kind of nonsense is that? So, what do you think should be told up front? You meet somebody, day one, you're having this get to know each other conversation. What information do you need to tell right off the bat?
Um, age, rank, and syrup. And I was like, uh,
Age is another thing. You should, yes, age should be in there, but go ahead.
um, wow, it's crazy. Well, it depends on how the conversation goes. Of course, like you said, everything you said before, the kids and stuff like that or whatever. I don't think no one wants to sit at a dinner table and hear you talk about your ex. That's
Well, no,
telling me
I'm
enough.
not. I'm not saying what you should not say. I'm not talking about your ex. I'm saying stuff that you straight up should let somebody know right from the door.
Hmm. HIV status. Uh, uh,
From
yeah,
date number one, we ain't even doing nothing yet.
that's your date. But what I'm saying is,
Oh,
you.
I
All
just
I'm
thought
saying.
that. I just
So you have to put it out there. You know what I mean? So, for example, um, if I say I'm celibate till I'm married, put it out there.
that
If
needs to
I
come out date number one.
put it out there, don't waste my time. Don't waste the other person's time. Everyone has a motive. People, like you said, when you show up at their first date, they say first impression, that's their representative. So what you want to do is remove their representative and see who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to get the realness out of you is to show you the realness in me. So so that's just one of those things. That's if you need to know someone's kids, notice their status, their sexuality. Are you bisexual? Do you like men and women? Find that out. Let's not waste each other's time. Let's keep it real.
So this is the off the grip, the beginning of the
Off the
conversation.
grid. Okay, so you're dating a guy. You like this guy. You think he's handsome, and on the fifth day he tells you he's bisexual. You could have
I
dated that.
probably by the fifth date, I probably won't be so locked and loaded, so I'm good. The problem would be is 30 days later, 60 days later, I'm like, whoa, that's information that should have came out already.
But you see, the whole deal is the conversation because the date, like in 30 days, you might go on 4 dates. You're not going to date every night. Not going to be a date, 5 days a week. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
no, that depends on who you are and what's going on. You know, when you first meet somebody, it's almost like back in high school again, and I don't care what age you are. If y'all really vibing and y'all really like each other, y'all will squeeze in time to see each other like every possible second that you have. Like,
mhm.
all right, just meet me at the coffee shop. Hey, sassy. What's
Hey,
up,
hey, so how
girlfriend?
you doing?
So, you will find time to squeeze in for this person. Be like, okay, just meet me after work for a quick second. Let's have a drink together. Let's meet at the coffee shop. Let's have dinner together. So you may see that person in 1 month. You may see them 10 to 15 times.
Mhm.
So, yes, she said you sure will. So you may see them 10 to 15 times in those 30 days, or maybe even more. It really depends. Because like I said, when you first meet each other, you're really getting to know each other. Like that's the best time period ever. Like when you first meet somebody and you're getting to know each other. I'm just trying to see when you're in that time period, how much do you release? How much do you tell? I
Well,
think you should also tell if you've been married before.
Well, the
You
thing
don't
is,
have to get into details, but go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
you're thinking about the actual date. If the date goes well, if you meet somebody, you say, okay, whatever, met online or whatever, but met him at work, you go on a date. The date goes
Hmm.
well. You're having conversations, okay, in between those dates.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's when those things come out, really. That's when those conversations come out. Those
When
things
they
come
should
out.
come out.
Should come out. And so, you know, you know, does your equipment work? These are conversations that come, hey, look, I've been asked questions that threw me for a loop and heard stories and shit was like, look, before we go any further, I need to know does your equipment work? I'm like, what? Yeah, I've had that problem. So some people will come out. I can't get mad if you ask a question and you're
Hmm.
honest with me. If you ask a question and you hiding your garbage, you know. So if you want me to answer a question, you gotta be willing to answer the question too. And
I
so
agree. So
and
let
so
me
that
tell you, I was talking to this guy one time. I mean, we were vibing long time, like having plenty of conversations, like you said. And then all of a sudden, and I always talk about my son. So all of a sudden, he was like something about his kids. And I almost dropped my phone. And it wasn't a problem that he had kids. It was a problem that we are knee deep in these conversations. And it's like conversation number 92, you talking about some kids. Now, granted, I never asked the question before, but I learned my lesson. I never asked the question before, but I'm like, hold up, partner. How you wait until like 90 something conversations later and then you bringing up these kids? Where do they do that at? So that's why I think it should be some common things that upfront within at least the first 5 to 10 conversations, you say XYZ. So one of those things, again, like I said, it's the kids. Another one of those things is if you ever been married before, how long you were married and how long has it been since your divorce. Another one of those things is when was your last relationship? Because I need to know if you just broke up with the person 24 hours ago. Because you're going to need some time. So those are all things, in my opinion, that need to come up right up front. And I'll give you 10 conversations. But within those 10 conversations, I should know a pretty good gist of you. And you should get most of the heavy stuff that I need to know. You should get it out in that 10 conversations. That's my opinion.
well, like I said, it depends on the person you're dealing with. And so, you know,
But what I'm
you
saying to you is, so send a memo out to all the men. It shouldn't depend on who you deal with. It should be common written rules to dating and what conversations you should have within those first 10 conversations. You want to throw in there if your equipment is working, and that's fine. But in my mind though, what does that really mean?
okay, so let me explain to you
Mm-hmm.
where we are on two different pages.
Okay.
Some people are dating for a relationship.
Okay.
Some people are dating just for sex. Some people are
Oh,
just going on a date to go on a date. So you have to pick the situation and you have to weed through it. People that act like they want a relationship when all they really want is sex. Some people that act like all they want is sex and they really want a relationship. So when you ask questions, some people are accepting of other things because they feel just like I said before. When you when I was in that situation and I wanted to be with her, whatever reason she came to call me over, I was there. So if I'm sitting there and I'm trying to have sex with you, well, I'm gonna try to be that chameleon to conform to whatever you're looking for. Okay? This is where it gets crazy. So I sit there and look at you and I'm like, okay. She wants the church going man, I'm gonna be the church going man. She wants this, I'm gonna be this. So at some point you have to really look at the person and say, okay, what do they want? Because at some point, like I said, it's going to come out. When you cut the grass, the snakes will show. So what happens is you don't get mad you found out that he had kids at the 92 talks. You thank God you found out he had kids at the 92 talks before y'all
No,
get to that
but
point.
the problem, but see, here's the thing is, the problem was never the kids.
It's
My
the fact he
problem
didn't tell
was,
you.
right,
Yeah,
like,
that
so
right
my
there
thing is,
is
go ahead.
telling you, well, you're not being truthful with me, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, when you go on a date, as like my dad always says, you got your plan and she has hers. You know what I mean? So you sitting there thinking you got a plan. I'm gonna meet this woman. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. She has a whole nother plan in her mind. You could be thinking this meantime between time, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not looking for no relationship. It's meantime between time." But then all of a sudden, she's plotting. You know what I mean? Something else. She's sizing you up, or whatever, or vice versa. So the thing is, that's what I'm saying. The date depends on what the person, what the person is about. So
But
I
you
mean,
want the person, I think, Kevin, the idea is, especially at a certain age, you would think people are over the games, right? And they're authentic. Okay, so fine. Let's go from maybe 20s to 30s, you running game. All right. Unfortunately, maybe someone up into their 40s, but like in your 40s, going and moving 40s and beyond that, you still playing games, you still running games. Somebody has to ask you the right questions for you to be authentic. No, you should come as your true, authentic self. There are some times where there's a question that need to be asked that maybe the person don't even know they should be asking that question. No one should have to say to you, "Do you have kids?" That should be
right?
something
But
that
you
you
got
say.
see what you're getting, and we had this conversation before. I'm not saying everyone's not
Look,
like you.
Kevin. She said, "Kevin, get out of my head."
What?
She said, "Get out of her head." But see, the thing is, right? I think that so before you go on a date, this is my opinion. Before you go on a date, again, you should have these conversations, and y'all should establish that y'all at least want the same thing.
Yeah.
Not saying that this is what's going to happen. We don't know until we actually date and see what happens, but y'all should establish that you're on the same page. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes the date is going to get coffee or dinner so we can learn more about each other, right? But then, you at some point you do, but again, when that point is, I really don't know. But at some point you got to say, well, this is what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Are you on that same page? Because if not, we're kind of wasting our time by dating, and maybe we could just be friends, but there's no need for us to date because we're not on the same path.
Okay. I'm a get open real night, right?
Uh,
I was at a point where, I was dating. I was doing
mhm.
my thing. Okay. I didn't tell anyone I was looking for a relationship. I did not tell anyone I was looking for a relationship. I was a grown man out there having fun. Then I got married. People were mad at me. I didn't promise nobody anything. So what was your motive? What were you thinking?
Why
Okay?
they gotta have a motive?
No, what I'm saying is listen to me, right?
Hmm.
If me and you, right? And I said, and then you, what you looking for? And you said, I just want to have a little fun. We don't go to the movies. We don't go to dinner. Every time we meet up, it's just a physical connection, right? Then I
Hmm.
look on Facebook, on Instagram, and 2 years later you get married. I'm saying, wow, why you do this to me? Do what to you? You said you was looking for the same thing. You said you just wanted to have a little fun.
Well, we could
But
go down a whole nother beaten path with that, Kevin, because
yeah,
unfortunately, what people don't understand, when you share that connection with somebody, even if you're claiming that this person is just your buddy for that particular reason, you're exchanging some stuff there that is connecting y'all. And that's where them soul ties come in. And that's where, when you don't even realize what's going on with you, is because you got all these different people pulling at your energy that you was just sleeping around with, and now you can't even shake them off. And then you wonder why you can't get your life right with the one you want to be with and call the one and get married to. But that's a whole nother topic that we would have to get into a whole nother day. Sex is not just sex. Even when you say that's what y'all just getting together for, there's some ties. That's why some people, even though they say we just buddies like that, tell me you haven't had one of those sex buddies and y'all got caught up. Somebody got caught up.
Oh, that in it. That's why. And no, I'm not saying it don't happen, but that's why people gotta have,
Yes, things change for some people.
yeah. So, but my thing is, when that happens, and always look at, I mean, how you come together is how you come together. There's no pattern to it. It happens where it happens.
Right.
Um, so I'm not going to say that's wrong or right or whatever. But when you are dealing with someone in that situation, my thing is if the relation, it's almost like a relationship based on finance. If the relationship is based on sex, that's the foundation. If the sex go left, where does the relationship go? Does the relationship build after that? You know what I mean?
It
Does the
could.
relationship?
It could.
It could,
It could.
but does it? Because I think what happens is, especially when you got two people, and sometimes whether it's distance or whatever, work, they're apart, they come together. Well, the anticipation, the time apart, and then when y'all come together, y'all really connect. Now that the situation becomes more frequently, then people look at like, well, I don't, we don't do it like we used to. Well, it was kind of different because every time I came over, you had lingerie on. Now I moved in, you're not gonna have lingerie on every night. So sometimes the expectation could be that, is it, so you have to look at it realistically, and like I said, you can start however it starts, but that can't be the only function or the biggest function, because life can throw you so many curveballs, and somebody can have an accident, somebody could be, you know what I mean, things can happen. So if you're going that route, just like finances, we just came out of a pandemic, like I said. If dude's the breadwinner, he was one of these people who lost their six-figure job, you know what I mean? How do you navigate that?
Oh, you can navigate it easy if you're a couple who really
Yeah, if
cares
you're a
about
couple
each
that's
other and
down,
who
but
love.
if you were based on, um, if you were basing everything on, uh, if you base everything on finances, and you're saying I'm with this person because they're making this much money, and unfortunately something happens, where does this relationship go? It can start off that way. You may say, well, he did nice things for me because he had money, and you start off that way because maybe you never had someone spend money on you like that, whatever. But then you get with him and you say, no matter what, I'm down with him. I'm down with him. You know what I mean? Just like the sex was good when we first got started, because the sex is what drew me in. A lot of times, relationship starts with attraction. I'm attracted to you. Okay, that's not the be all, the end all. But what I'm saying is, it has to build from there. So it
Well,
could
most
start.
relationships do, though, right? Like you build, like you may come together for a certain reason, and then you stay together because you grow and you start to love each other and you build your foundation. So I think the premises of what you're saying is, it doesn't matter how you start your foundation as long as you grow from there. I mean,
Mhm.
there are couples that, they started out, they was just, sex partners, but then they came to love each other, and then they lived their happily ever after. There was couples vice versa, that they didn't even like each other at first, and then they fell in love. So, your foundation is what you start with, is what you start with. There's no blueprint on how you should start. But what matters is, where do you go from there? How do you grow? And that's what matters in relationship. But what I'm saying to you is, in the beginning though, when you're dating, when you're trying to grow, you have
Hmm.
to be upfront, honest, and tell the person what you want. And in some things, not all of your past, but you have to tell some of your past that might impact your union with this new person.
So what do you tell?
You tell whatever you think, because you never know. Because what's important to me to tell, it may not be important to you, but maybe something I didn't tell is more important to you. So you're never going to be perfect with this situation, but I told you what you tell. You tell about the kids. You tell about when your last relationship ended. You tell if you was ever married. Okay. You tell at some point, and this doesn't have to be the very beginning, but if you see the relationship is leading towards a certain direction and you are in financial ruins, then you need to tell that person,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
look, and like I said, that don't have to be out the door, but that has to be within those certain amount of conversations. And I'm gonna say, depending upon how many times y'all talk, how many dates y'all been going on, within 30 days, whatever you need to tell, they should know. So I'm going to give you 30 days.
Hmm.
Okay. We may give you 31, but after that, everything that that person needs to know about you, they should know before they start getting really falling in love with you. And then, you know what? When you pass 30 days, if there is something you really want to tell them, you're not going to know how to tell them. And then
Hmm.
30 becomes 60, and then 60 becomes 90, and then it becomes a year. And then it's like, okay, well, how do I really tell them now? Because they're going to be like, well, why didn't you tell me before? So my time limit is 30 days. You got 30 days to tell me everything I need to know. And you better be truthful.
Hmm.
What
Oh,
you got, Kevin? How many days?
well, I'm gonna say, let me know within 2 weeks if you're not gonna move in the dorm room together.
What?
I said, let me know within 2 weeks if you're not gonna move into the dorm room together.
What you mean by that?
You think about it. But
Well,
anyway,
I'm slow.
so all I'm saying is that you got, like I said, it depends on what it is. But if
Yes, it
someone's
does,
honest.
Latia. Wait, hold on one second. Latia, it does. It depends on which way the dating thing is going. But that's why I said 30 days. Because if we're still dating in 30 days and it's going, I'm not probably dealing with you those whole 30 days if it's not going in the right direction. So if we still dating in this 30 days and I'm assuming it's going in the right direction, you need to tell me what I need to know. I don't need no surprises. Go ahead, Kevin.
I feel the same way. I mean, like I said, I always feel when you see that, 'cause we always talk about first impressions, and I feel when you first date somebody, that's their representative. You got to
Well,
get
that's
past
for
that.
sure. But you know what though? That's everybody, right? When
Yeah.
you first meet somebody, you put your good foot forward. Okay. You're not
Hmm.
leaving your house without being nice and looking good. You making sure every hair is in place, your outfit is cute, they ready, you're smelling good. You making sure all of that. I mean, you're crazy if you dating and you're not, right? So we all go with our best foot forward when you first dated. Even when you're on the phone talking to them. And then, later on, as time goes by, you start to relax a little bit. And they be like, well, you going to meet me. Well, I'm going to meet you, but I'm coming in my sweatpants. You good? Like, you relax it up a little bit. But there was a time in a relationship where you'd be like, I wouldn't dare show up in my sweatsuit or my sweatpants. But then as y'all start to grow and with each other and the relationship becomes more real, you'd be like, all right, I'm coming over, but I got on my sweatpants or whatever. So yes, we all show the representative, right? Latia says she don't have a representative, and
That's a
and when
damn
I say
lie, man.
when I say the representative, it doesn't have to be a stream. Cause some people it's an extreme. You like, hold on, wait a minute. I met John and now this is Johnny. Like who's that? Or vice versa. So when I say the representative, it's like you're putting your best foot forward. You making sure the hair comb, you smell good, this, that, and the other. But I don't mean representative as in you're lying. But some people, their representative is far off from who they really are. And
Right.
that's a difference.
What is the old saying? You got to bring
Uh-huh.
ass to get ass, and you got to bring something to the table. And I believe you can't expect honesty and you're being dishonest.
Right.
And so, to me, you have to bring that to the table. And I think what happens is that's the big uh, process when you go through a breakup, about when you heal from that in the next situation. You don't want the same situation, so you have to be honest. You know what I mean? Unless you're hiding something, but you have to be honest. I think the way to be honest at first is yourself. As much as a
But wait,
relationship is.
stay there 1 second, Kevin. You're saying that, first of all, there are relationships that break up and the other person was being dishonest and dating someone else while they were still with their one partner. So they don't care nothing about integrity and honesty. And do you really think they're telling their new partner? No, they told their new partner a whole bunch of lies.
Hmm.
And they got to continue that lie. Or else, what are they going to say 30 days later? Well, let me be truthful. She didn't know I was dating you, or he didn't know I was dating, or whatever. I was cheating on her. They're not going to do that. So some people, honesty means nothing to them. They don't even recognize that word. They
Hmm.
don't know how to do that. Okay. So, to say that is relevant to what?
Well, it's
I could come to you, Kevin, or we do vice versa. You could come to me and be 100% honest, and I still like, whatever, I'm not telling my truth. How would you know? Sometimes you don't know until you know.
but I think it it's a it's like a calm or energy you put out there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I do believe that if you put out dishonesty and you put out mischievous, that's what you end up with. You was this like what I
But
mean.
Kevin,
So
you could put out good and still end up with bad.
true, true. But that's when you tread lightly. I mean, you because the thing is, it's all a risk.
It's all a risk. So see, I like that comment, right? It's all a risk, but I think love is worth the risk, right? And so no matter what after a breakup, no matter how painful it is, I think at some point you gotta pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back out there again. Okay. And look for love until you find it and it finds you, and you end up in the type of relationship that you want.
Hmm.
So if you were married and you got to get married 3, 4, 5 more times until you find the right one, in my opinion, go for it. Okay. You had a bad breakup at some point, and I don't think you should take that long either, right? If you happen to meet the right person 72 hours later, then you meet the listen, you meet the right person. Because here's the other thing too, Kevin. Normally with breakup, although the person might have broke up on Monday, mentally and physically they might have been out of that relationship for years. So
Mhm.
maybe they broke up 3 days ago, but like I said, for a whole year or years, the relationship was breaking down. um the emotion and everything was no longer in that relationship. The love was lost. So
Mhm.
that's why I said 72 hours, 48 hours, whatever. If you ready, you ready. And but
Oh,
again, if you're
it's
not,
no
you're
time
not.
frame. I
Right, it's
said
no
there's no
time
time
frame.
frame. That's why. But is you? I mean, I don't see me somebody that soon. But I mean, like I said, it's a time frame. So I mean, I
But you know
always.
what though, Kevin? You can even wait weeks and years and there can still be some residual that your other partner that you just got with may have to deal with, or maybe they're going to help you work through it.
Yeah, That's true. It can help you work
So
through it.
so they can help you work through it. So that's why I said, it's really no time frame. You can be home sitting thinking you're healing yourself, and you don't really know that you're not healed until you get into a relationship with someone else, and then something happens that triggers, so that you realize, like, wow, I thought I was healed from this, but I'm not.
So how did you know you were healed?
Um, I mean, I can't say that I'm 100% healed at this point. I can say this, that I feel better than I did then, when it first happened. Um, let me wait. Let me tell you, I know a woman that met her husband at her husband's funeral. Oh, Jesus. I mean, good Lord. But wait, did she, Latia, you gotta tell me. But maybe she met him, but they didn't start dating right away, did they? You gotta tell me. I don't- like that's crazy. Oh my God. So
Don't you?
um so all I can say is I feel better. I don't feel like I'm drowning in that hurt and that pain. So that's why in my mind I feel healed. Oh, and also, you know what? Because I also feel like I forgave the person that did everything to me. So I feel like that's part of my healing too. So I feel better inside and out. It took a minute. She says she was not meant to be alone. And you know what? Some people are really like that. And oh, you said yes, they did. Good Lord.
Ain't like he was coming back.
Kevin, Jesus. Listen, but you know what though? See, I admire people like that too. That listen, they know that they was not meant to be alone, and they're not afraid to love again. Listen, I'm not mad at her. I don't know if I could have did it, but at the same time, I admire people like that, and I'm not mad at her. But again,
I,
I said I don't know if I could have did it.
well, it's like that movie we watched. I don't know if I could date somebody's sibling. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
some people, we have. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but if you look at that situation, that was a good example of that conversation they needed to have because he was about to get married, even though he loved this woman, but he hadn't had closure, and so she hadn't had closure. So that conversation at the end of the movie on the beach, they had to have that conversation.
Well, you're talking about, Kevin, you got to give a little background because you talk about a movie that nobody doesn't even know
Oh,
what
the
you're talking
movie
about.
Resort to
So,
Love.
yeah.
Resort
But
to Love.
the thing with that is, like you said though, right? Yeah, for in that particular situation, my thing is, if you asking someone to marry you, then you need to know in your heart of heart that you're not still lusting or thinking about someone else. Like, you're taking a big step there. You're asking someone to marry you, to be with you the rest of your life, and you still got thoughts about someone else in your head. Like, you're not ready. You shouldn't have never even said to the person, "Well, you marry me."
But it happens all the time.
Oh,
It happens all the time.
really?
I know somebody who had sex with the bride at the wedding, an ex. She saw him, he saw her, he took her downstairs, and they actually, so while everybody's dancing and dude looking for the bride, she's downstairs having sex with the ex. Why did she get married?
I'm speechless.
So, I catered the wedding. So I knew I was like, what? So
Yes,
I mean,
Lucia. Yes.
a
You know
lot of
you're
people,
healing. Wait 1 second, Kevin. You know you're healing when the things that used to hurt don't hurt as much, or it doesn't hurt at all. Yes. That is definitely a sign. Um, this bride having sex with the ex at her wedding is like, whoa. That's a whole nother level of stuff going on.
but it, I ain't going for days with stuff like that. But the bottom line is that people accept marriage proposals and ask marriage what they don't have the good, I would say good intent, but they do it for various reasons. And so, it's like the question of that movie, why did I get married? And so that's a true statement. Like, why? Sometimes I look at people like, well, why did you ask her? Sometimes I look at people, why did you say yes? And
Mhm.
so I've heard different situations. I heard a woman say she said yes because she thought at her age she would never be asked because she had kids. Her kid's father never asked to marry her. Like in all the relationships, not one relationship someone asked to marry her. So the first dude came to ask to marry her, she said yes. But she wasn't in love with
Mm.
him. She wasn't in love with him. She thought she would never get asked again. That was so she said yes.
Did she eventually fall in love with him though?
They got divorced.
Oh
I don't know
Jesus.
what. You know what I mean? But
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
but the thing is that she was, you know, she didn't have the intentions he had. Like he didn't have any kids, and I'm not having no kids, but she didn't tell him that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm. Well,
So
she thought she was fraudulent.
yeah,
She started out her foundation on lies. Now that's not gonna work.
it's just like that couple I told you about when he was trying to get his wife pregnant, and she told him when they sat down with the pastor counseling, and the pastor said, she said, I didn't want to have kids and get pregnant until at least my 30s because I'm working on my career. He said, didn't you have this conversation before you got married? She said, yes. He said, oh, she spoke, you didn't listen. So a lot of situations like that, people have another motive. Like I said, dude thought once she got married, she was
She
gonna
would change
start
her mind.
start changing mind. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody have their you go into a situation where you might say, okay, there are women who went in situations thinking, once I get married, I'm not gonna have to work anymore. Why do you feel that? So you know what I mean? And so they feel something else like I'm working just as hard as I was working before I got married. So you got married so you wouldn't have to work. That doesn't sound like love to me. You know what I mean? Now, if he's willing to take care of you, I'm not knocking that. If he's willing to take care of you, you say, look, baby, you stay at home and y'all discuss it. I got all the finances, whatever. But she got upset and was like, I thought I was gonna not have to work. She thought wrong. So I mean, like I said, people have their ideas in their mind with the marriage or why they're gonna do it. So the sad part is you don't know what someone's thinking. You just don't. If they're
You
not being
don't, but
honest,
you don't, Kevin. But the thing is, and the idea is, when you get into a relationship, you will hope that your partner will be truthful and honest with you, and not deceitful. And you would hope that if you know that your partner really want to have kids and you don't, you would say that up front. Like, and there was another person that I was talking to, and they swore younger than me by, I'm gonna say 10 years, and he had no kids, and I was like, and he claimed he didn't want any, and I was like, stop, 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 stop. Mm-mm. I'm not even doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you because I do know, like, just from other conversations that I was having with him, I'm like, I know you want children. I know you want to get married. So you ain't going to play around with me and then go leave me in the corner somewhere and then you go find your young girl and get married, not this one over here. No, sir. I'm not doing that with you. Uh-uh. So my thing is, in my mind, he wasn't being truthful. And so, and yeah, he wasn't, in my mind, he wasn't being truthful.
but he just what? And the thing is, but did he get married and have kids?
Yes, he did.
Okay, then so that in your mind, outside your mind, he wasn't truthful. It wasn't just in your mind. You know what I mean? And so You,
Yes, he did.
you know, so it came out. So I mean, like I said, people have their motives, and when you sit down and you
Right.
have conversations with people, like one of the biggest conversations I have with men and women is, yo, we was getting it in before we got married, and then the sex changed, the sex stopped, and that I don't get. But it's like, yo, we used to be all over the.
Well, well, let's have a conversation about that really quickly, right? So again, I'm going to say this is when you say stop, you mean as in none at all. That's one situation, right? Um, Not the same frequency, is a whole different conversation. When you have a household that you have to run, and especially if kids are in that household, you're not going to have the same time and freedom that you might have had before. So
Okay,
go ahead.
what do you say if when y'all was living together and everybody was in that house, and then when y'all got married, everything changed?
Well, that's different.
Or what
But
if there's no kids involved?
well, then that's really different.
So I mean, that's the whole deal. The kids done moved out. Kids done went to
Well,
college.
Well, that's a whole problem. But but then at that point, you have to find out like what's going on. Are y'all as a couple still in the same space and still, having the same intimacy as you had before? And I'm not talking about like the sex part of it. Like, what are y'all doing that y'all are not closely knit anymore?
I don't know, but
Because as you stated, sex happens before you get in the bedroom or wherever it is y'all choose to do it. So there's got to be some other breakdowns that y'all are no longer having this connection. That's in my mind.
hmm yeah, I mean, some
Because
people
it
have told
doesn't just,
me.
to me, how could it just disappear? Are
Some
you no
people told
longer
me 6 months
attracted to
into
your
the
partner?
marriage, the sex went left.
All of it?
You gotta ask them. I'm like, really,
Well, I
really?
don't know. Well, that's a little crazy, and I think it has to be more to that story. I would love for them to join us and talk about it, because to me, that would have to be more to the story. Like, what happened? Why did it just happen? Usually, stuff doesn't just happen like that.
hmm But I look. All I'm
And
saying
Kevin,
is,
I said it before and I'll say it again. In relationships, whether you're friends, your lovers, whatever, people got to use their words. And I think that's where the problem comes in. People do not use their words. With Kevin, when you're two and a possible comes in, things change. Kevin, that's when you're two in a At first I was like, what is she saying?
I already got it. No, that don't stop the sex.
Oh my God.
And that was 10 years ago. So if it's been 10 years, that's different. It ain't been a week.
Oh, gee.
It
You
ain't been
got a
six
good
months.
faculty of two and possible, honey. Listen, but what I'm saying is, Kevin, that communication, like we agree, right, is everything. People have to use their words. If you're missing your partner in a certain way, you need to talk to them about it and find out what's going on. Like, what we used to have all of these great times together, like what's going on? Why are we no longer connecting in this way?
hmm True, true. But like I said, I don't get how people can have a conversation, then get together and can't talk. You know what I mean? And
Wait, say
so
that again?
I don't see how people can have like you're dating, and you're having these conversations to get together, and then all of a sudden now you can't talk. Like a communication breaks down.
Um, Easy, easy. So relationships take I hate to use the word work because work seems like the wrong word to use, right? But you have to cultivate them, right?
Hmm.
So and if you are coming home, yes, communication is definitely key, right? So you have to cultivate your relationship and you have to build some traditions, for lack of a better word, that are good for you as a couple, right? So if we both are out there working, then we need to decide, okay, well, how we doing dinner? How we going to do dinner together? Or, one night out of the week, you surprise your mate with dinner, whether you cooked it or you ordered it out or whatever. So you have to keep that romance, um, that surprise, in there. You have to keep it going by doing little things. Everything is not really about money and maybe going out, but you have to find little things so that you keep the romance in the relationship going. And it takes two. So it cannot always be this person or that person. It's to both of you to make the relationship really work and to keep it together. But it's easy, Kevin, for people to stop talking. Once you don't address one issue, and you let it go, but it's bothering you and the other person doesn't even know. And now first show is here, and now you're not communicating, and it's here, then it's here, then it's here, then it's here, then it's here. And then you're so far apart that y'all don't even know how to draw each other back in. So it can happen very easily. Have you ever been with someone and y'all been in the same space together and y'all wouldn't even talk to each other?
But that was during the breakup. But yeah, but that I would suggest that to anybody.
But
Don't say
even
nothing.
before the breakup, though, Kevin, I mean, things had to been happening. Usually, couples don't break up if all is well, right?
No, I
So,
mean I mean you sense what's going on. You know certain things is not conversation is not going on. Um, you know, you try to reach out to certain situations, but there was still some communication going on. It wasn't the same. But the minute this person is like, "Well, I'm done," or "I don't want to," you know what I mean? And now y'all got to figure things out because y'all living together or whatever. What you want me to say to you? Hey, how was your day?
you
No,
can.
no,
You
no.
say you're not.
But damn
You
about
done.
your day.
Oh,
Yep.
you don't care?
Damn about your day. I get damn about your day. We done went to a whole nother level. We went to a whole nother
Really?
level. Dead serious. No, we could be going through something, and I can say, "How was your day?" And you can talk to me. You done with me? But damn about your day. Patience. I'm
Wow.
trying because at
So
this
then,
point,
you know what? That's a good segue, Kevin. So do you think that you can, that exes can be friends?
depends on how it ended. You know what I mean?
Have you been,
After
you've been in a relationship that broke up that just ended well?
no, what I mean is you can still be cordial. You can still keep you know what I mean? After the situation's over. I mean, if it's a situation where you came home and they cleaned out the apartment, what conversation are we gonna have? If it's a
But maybe not
situation,
even right away. Maybe just later on at some date, right? Because you said
well,
we
later
all got to
on,
forgive.
like I said, later on when things kind of wear down and things heal, you could have a situation, but it'll never be the same.
No, I'm just talking about being friends. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like lovers again, just
No, I'm
friends.
not talking about lovers. I'm talking about friends. I
Okay.
think that's why sometimes when people who are friends and they get together and break up, and the other person's like, I don't understand why you ain't friends with me no more. Duh. You broke that person's heart. They're not going to be, even though they may subside some way, it's never going to be the same.
It won't be the same.
In
So
some
let me let me
instances,
let me ask you this. If your partner, your mate that you got with, they have a best friend that is the opposite sex, and now you and them are dating or whatever, are you okay with them still having that friend? Like their friend, they're extremely close.
Well, this is the question I ask. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how I do it. I'm dating you, and I said, okay, you got your best friend over here. The question I ask you, and you need to be honest with yourself and me, if you drop your drawers right now, will he hit it? Now, if he's a friend that says, if you say, nah, he wouldn't do that because we're just friends, we're like brother and sister, or the reason why he's a friend because you won't let him hit it. He wants to
Mm.
get with you. You know the answer to that question. Okay? Stuff like that you need, especially not saying right away, but when relationships gets heavy and you start, you need to dead that. You need to dead that because I'm not going to have you around a woman who I know will slice your throat in a New York minute. That's disrespect, even if you don't know. So I'm sitting here and this is my friend, but we're friends because I don't want a relationship with her. I'm keeping her at bay. I'm sticking the arm out like a stiff arm. You over here. But we still cool. But I know I can still mess with her. We're not really friends. I mean, we're friends, but it's something there. Now, me and you connect. I gotta, and especially things start going strong. I gotta push that to the side. You know, I'm not gonna have it at the barbecue. I'm not gonna have it at the situation or function, knowing that if you was to blink an eye, she'd give it up to me. That's just wrong. And some people put people in that situation like, yo, why would you have somebody around you that was trying? Because they're never gonna be um they're always gonna be in your ear. I saw this with one of my coworkers. One of the guys we thought they were friends. The whole time he was trying to get well, we never knew that. So they're just friends. And so when they was going through a breakup, he was the main one in the air. I'm trying to keep them together. He the main one in the air. He needs to just leave her alone. I'm like, why are you hating all of a sudden? And then I found out later, and she told us, it was like, nah, he was the main one trying to get us to break up. So
Well, she was silly, right? Because
yeah, but they were young.
he
We were young.
jeopardized. They're young, but nobody's getting rid of. I'll say at least 5 year plus friend.
But here's the point. What I'm saying to you is this. You know your friend. I don't know him, right?
Right.
The answer to the question, you should know this. If you drop your drawers right now, would he smash? If the answer is
But if
yes,
you
he's not.
but
What?
what if you don't know it? What if you be like, no, he wouldn't.
Then it is what it is.
But
He's
you
not
don't
a
know the
threat.
true intentions in his head.
No, but what I'm saying is this. If you wanted him, you could have had him, right?
Right.
Is he a friend because you want him and couldn't have him? Or are y'all truly friends? Like who are I have female, platonic female friends. We've never had sex. We've been just friends. Friends, you know what I mean? We cool like that, but it is what it is. But then you got friends where you would say, what you call a friend zone. You know what I'm talking about? They either put you or you put them in a friend zone. That's a different situation. You know what
See,
I
I
mean?
like what I said. I've been in that situation. We never crossed the line, strictly kept as friends out of the respect I have for his wife. So you see what I mean? You can have, so what I guess the better question is, male and females can be friends.
Hmm.
And so if I had a male friend for 10, 15 years and now you come along and you jealous, that's not my circus. He's my friend.
Well, see, that's the whole deal, though. See, jealousy is a whole nother lane. You got
Yeah,
to
it
know
is.
who you're dealing with. Like, for example,
Right.
when Steve Harvey talks about a friend, Steve Harvey said he's a jealous person. I don't want my
Mm.
wife to have no male friends. He said, I don't want to be a female friend unless you know what I mean? So some people will come out and say it. I had guys say, I got enough friends. I don't need no more. If you're a friend, either you know what I mean? Either we doing something or we not. But they're
No,
not playing that
I
game.
get that, Kevin, but you're going down another path. I'm
But
saying
when you,
that I have a male friend. We've
hmm
been friends for 15 years.
hmm
Okay. Now I meet somebody. He has issues with my male friend. That's not my circus. You got to
okay,
get over that. I'm not going to send my male friend away that's been with me for 15 years because you can't get yourself together.
okay, but
And
I'm
no,
not
he
saying
doesn't. And no, he doesn't want to sleep with me. And if he did want to sleep with me, I don't know about it.
okay, but what I'm that's the point I'm making to you.
Okay.
Don't bring somebody into a toxic situation.
It ain't toxic. He my friend.
No, your situation obviously is not. But what I'm saying is just like but when you talk about jealousy, it
Right.
don't matter. There are people who are jealous of they like there are people I've seen situations where and this woman talk like she couldn't hug her in-laws because her husband was jealous. He didn't want her hugging another man.
He crazy.
But there's people like that. There's people who are truly like that. They're just jealous, and it depends on um, their jealousy. Sorry for your loss, but
Yeah.
it depends on their jealousy level. When you deal with jealousy, we're dealing with a whole nother subject. Because people
No, we
jealous
are.
of, yeah, you know, a whole nother
We
subject.
totally are. And see, that's what I'm talking about. See, they was best friends since the age of 12. He passed when he was 46. He passed young. Yeah.
Mm.
And see, that's a whole nother ball game, right? When you had a friend for that long. And yes, Sassy, sorry for your loss. When you had a friend for that long, it's a whole nother ball game, right?
Yeah,
But you can't expect someone when you meet them to drop all their friends and then it's just you and them.
but see, here's the deal, though. Women are the same way. There are women who have problems with guys with female friends.
Well, because normally, y'all, normally, y'all cannot handle it. If you know how to check the chick, then fine. But normally, y'all can't handle it. And it can't be a friend that you used to sleep with. It can't be none of that. Yeah, your ex-husband. Yeah, because he knew. So
but
that was good.
but what
The
I'm saying
internet, the
to
internet is buffering.
but what I'm saying is like okay, my relationship. Now talking about my home girl, I call my BFF.
Hmm.
I said okay, and it wasn't. I said she was going through something. I said yo, come over, eat some dinner, chop it up with us, right? Because she was going through a breakup. Well, I told my lady, I said look, she coming through, whatever, right? I made the food and I put together this drink, and so um, they started drinking and they was hanging out and they started talking. And I just slid over into the other room and started watching Monday Night Football and let them have a conversation because I wanted my lady to be comfortable with her, you know.
That's different. Yes.
And before you knew it, because she had just moved, she was giving her everything. Oh, we got an extra printer. You can have this. You got, you know what I mean? And so it was just the point of I'll let them develop a relationship. And then they
Yes.
were going out, they were doing their thing. So it's just like, you know, like my boy, Buster. I met him through his wife. I knew her first. You see what I'm saying?
That's the
So,
way to do it, Kevin, though. That's the way to do it. The way that you're describing right there, that's the way to do it. And you know, I was messing before, but yeah, that's the way to do it. When you do it that way, and then the females become friends, everybody, here's the thing. My friend should be our friend if I'm in a relationship, and your friend should be our friend. It shouldn't be this separate nonsense. And they gotta respect boundaries. You cannot call the person the same way you used to call them before they was in a relationship. You got to
mhm,
have some boundaries and you got to respect them.
mhm,
So but the key with what you did, that's the way it should be done.
mhm. So I
So
just,
I agree. Huh?
And I'm saying that's just the way I did it. You know what I mean? So it's just there was some little quirks where I thought was stupid, but we dealt with it. You
It
know.
can happen. People could get in their feelings, but normally they get in their feelings if the friend is crossing a boundary, right? There
Okay,
got
so
to
what
be
is a
some
what
boundaries.
do you? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, what's the boundary?
Well, you can't just be calling any old type of hours.
Okay,
And you
so
can't be texting any old type of hours. Now, if you in danger and you don't have a man, all right, maybe I'll give you a pass. You understand what I'm saying? But on a regular basis, see, sometimes with your friends, they used to having access to you when you're single. And listen, when you're single, hey, you can text the person 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. You could do what you want. You have a different access to them because they are single. But once they're no longer single and they're with somebody, your access is not the same. And you should be smart enough to know that, understand it, and have your boundaries. And then
okay,
when you
so
go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you the root. I didn't know I broke a boundary.
Okay.
So my homegirl would come over sometimes, and they would hang out. And when they came back, sometimes she would spend the night. So one particular time, she said, "Give me something to sleep in." Threw a shirt, threw a pair of shorts. That was it. She got upset about because it was a shirt she liked to wear. And I didn't think much of it. I just threw the shirt. But she really got pissed about it. She was really pissed about it. And she was like, "That's my shirt." I'm like, "You can wash the shirt." Like, it wasn't that big of a, to me, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
I didn't, because much more, I was in the bed half asleep in the first place. And she actually came in the room and hit me in the head and said, "Get up, give me something to sleep in." I just reached and went like this. My thing is, if that was the case, why didn't you give her something to sleep in when you said she should spend the night? You know what I mean? But it really caused the argument. She's like, "You crossed the line." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm like, I gotta pick her. I gotta pick the right clothes now. Like, you know what I mean? But depending on what your boundary is, to her, that I crossed the boundary because she used to wear that shirt and and stuff like that. And while we on this relationship stuff, let me ask a question. See these ladies out here, Sassy and Latia and yourself. Um, I ask you, what do you want to eat? And you say things like, whatever you want. And then I pick a restaurant, but you don't want to eat that. And I pick the second restaurant, and you don't want to eat that. The third restaurant, nah, I'm not feeling that. So then I says, what do you want? And then you throw the ball back in my court and say, you pick something. I just picked three things. All right. Now we say, okay, we finally decide on a place. We're going to have it delivered. We ain't going out, whatever, right? What do you want? This is what I want. I'm on a diet. I'm eating X, Y, Z. Boom. You got yours. I'm getting ABC. But every time I turn around, your fork in my plate.
It's fair game. Stop it. It's called sharing.
But you could have had what I had because I
It's
asked you
called
what you wanted.
sharing. What's the big deal?
Because when I'm done, I'm still hungry because you ate half my food.
Go
That's
look in the
that's the big deal.
refrigerator. Go look in the
Uh,
refrigerator and see what you can find.
That's why I ordered the large because I'm a big dude. I said, let me get a large, and I got
Go
this,
look
and I
in the
got.
refrigerator. You'd be fine. It's one time, it's one night. Sharing is caring.
It's more than
Sharing
one
is
time.
caring. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
Mm-hmm.
about to close out, Kevin. And
Mm-hmm.
as we close out, what is your best advice on after the breakup when you're going through the pain? Um, what should you do?
Well, one thing I can say, Mama was right. Time heals all wounds. Time and time. Give yourself time to heal. You know, if you're still talking about him and you're still talking about her, then obviously you're not over it. And I say respect the next person. You don't want people bringing the mess. Um, you know what?
I agree, Latia.
I'm not even gonna say that.
She said our
So,
internet is buffering.
huh.
Okay, we got to figure that out next time, Kev. Well, go
So,
ahead.
but what I'm saying is that you need to heal and respect other people's place. T.D. Jakes said someone one time is that you got two people laying in the bed, but they bring so much baggage. You got five or six people in that bed with them, and
Absolutely.
and 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 so it's not fair. So I think you need to heal before you get into the next situation.
Hmm.
Um, and this is something we haven't talked about, but pray. You
Absolutely.
know, there's a certain person, a very successful person, born again Christian, was talking about that, and he said before he goes in a business meeting, he prays.
Mm,
Before he does anything, he prays. The one thing he never asked God about was a woman.
mm,
He said he never thought about it. He said because I'm fine and I got the money and the women coming towards me. He said he never once asked God to send him a right woman. And so sometimes they don't think about it. We think we got this. So my thing is, pray about it. Ask God to send you somebody, and when God gives you an exit sign, don't ignore it.
don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it.
Don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore the signs because they will come back to bite you later. And sometimes the bite is brutal.
And
So yeah,
karma is undefeated. I want to put that out there.
yeah, karma is undefeated. So I'll close out by saying this, after the breakup, I think you definitely got to do some self reflection, as we stated, right? You have to self reflect and you have to forgive not only the other person, but forgive yourself because maybe there were times throughout that relationship where you could have did better. Maybe there were signs that you saw before you got into that relationship that you knew from the door you should have never even went into it in the first place. So you got to forgive yourself. Yes, they will come back. Yes, they will come back to bite you. Yes, 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 yes. So you got to forgive yourself. And then once you forgive yourself, I will always say never give up on love, right? Because I think we were all meant to be with someone if that's what we really want in our life. And I think love is an amazing thing. And I think when you get with someone where y'all are in sync together, it's like it's so beautiful. It's like out of this world. And just because it did not work out with that one person doesn't mean that you can't find somebody that it will work out with. So love is out there and you have to never give up. And you with meeting somebody, there's so many ways to perhaps meet someone. You can ask friends, they have these dating sites now. I know some people that was very successful with dating sites. I mean, I heard horror stories, but I also know some people that were very successful. But if you want to be with someone, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And I do believe there is someone for everyone, and you have to find that someone that is for you. And you can't find them if you're sitting in
Well,
your house waddling in your pain. Go ahead, Kat.
I want to say this real quick.
Mm.
For those who have children, love someone the way you want someone to love your children. Treat someone the way you want someone to treat your children. If you think about it, if you're nasty or mean to somebody, would you want someone to treat your child that way? And so my thing is, if you know that I know I wouldn't want nobody to dog out my child, why would I do the same? You know what I mean? So I believe I say you love someone the way you want someone to love your child.
And get with somebody who can love your child.
True.
Don't I would not date someone, I don't care how much I like them, for 1 second if they don't like children and if they don't like my child, because I'm not going to do that to myself or my child or my family. So I wouldn't do that. So and dating is different, and maybe we have a conversation about that another day. Dating is different once you have children. So once you have children and you're dating is different. I can't very. No Dirty John scared the hell out of me. I'm good on that online dating. Girl, that one right there. But you know what, Sassy? She had so many signs. Even her daughters was trying to tell her. I wanted to choke her.
I'm
That
lost.
it's a movie and it was based on a true story, Kevin. It's called Dirty John. He lied about his finances, about his profession. He was a whole hot mess. And like I said, the sad part about it, it was based on a true story. But her daughters were saying something is not right. She had so many signs and she ignored all of them. And still, but again, you know why she ignored all the signs? Because she wanted to be married. She was a successful businesswoman, had her own business, and the only piece she was missing out of her life was being married. So she was willing to do that by any means necessary. And see, that's another thing with me. I'm not a by any means necessary person. I don't want to be alone, but I'm not going to make something fit that doesn't fit just so I won't be alone. So that's the difference with me. Like, I want it to really work and fit. I don't want to just have somebody in my life. Yeah, he lied about everything. He was just, and then he became scary at one point too. Yeah, she was the lonely type. Yeah, she was just lonely, and loneliness, and that's a whole nother conversation. Loneliness is a beast. Loneliness can have you doing stuff that you didn't think you would ever do in your life. Um,
Loneliness is a sad affair. Luther said it.
Yeah, it's a beast. It could have you making wrong decisions. But again, Kevin, we didn't touch on this a lot, but that's when that whole prayer and your faith comes in, to build you up and keep you strong. Because and especially being alone, if you was in a long-term relationship and you was used to doing everything with that person, and then you go from that to being alone, like, that can knock you off your feet too. I mean, if y'all went grocery shopping together, y'all ate dinner together, y'all went to the, as soon as the latest movie came out, y'all went to that together. So to go from all of that interaction and then being alone, it's crazy. But you got to learn how to deal with it, or else you would end up like her in this crazy situation where you're like, how did I get here? You got here because you let your feelings, overtake you and get you there. She,
Or you
like I said,
ignored it.
she saw signs, but she allowed loneliness to help her ignore the signs. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin. What did you say?
I said she sometimes you ignored it because you wanted something so bad
Right.
that you just didn't see it. And that's why
Yeah.
sometimes when I made the comments and people want to get married so bad,
Right.
they don't really take the time, and
They
you
don't
know,
care. They got
yeah.
somebody to say, "You want to marry me?" and they said yes, and they roll with it. But then the aftermath that they got to deal with, whew, the aftermath is the beast.
Hmm.
But guys, we love y'all. Our girl Sassy, thank you for stopping by. Latia, we love you. Thank you, ladies. And I want to say, who else was in the building with us tonight? So I want to thank everybody for stopping by, joining us for this conversation. We're probably going to do some more Netflix conversations about different shows because we saw so many of these Netflix shows. I mean, that one movie, The Lie, um, that's a whole conversation in and of itself right there. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Deuces.